Tom Cruise.
What's it like having Andrew Lincoln as your director?
It's all right.
What? Of this episode? Really?
Yeah, no, he's the director, dude.
No, but he's acting. He's an actor.
No, he left.
He's directing it.
No, he left. He left, and then came back. Then left again, and came back as a director.
Andy Lincoln's directing this block, and it's exciting for me because I don't know him in any other capacity really. All I know him is somebody who I've seen on TV, and I felt a bit starstruck at first.
From the first week of prep, we've built, a minute and a half of television through all of these different departments, through art department, through script, through design, through wardrobe, through makeup, sound, editing, and on top of that all, I had the privilege of acting, helping my fellow actors to put this thing in. I don't really know what it was going rather well there for a minute. I can't be asked. Before the script arrives, it's been through quite a few drafts, and it still goes up until actually the shooting time. Quite a few drafts, a lot more than I anticipated actually on this.
Just this scene I would be able to do in a couple of hours. It's not that long in terms of the amount of material, but that's the actual typing is quite quick. The planning of all the beats, obviously that takes much longer.
A lot of the scripts follow a similar pattern. You have a pub scene, which kind of thematically sets up the tone of the show. Then you get into the staff room, and the first scene pretty soon after the credit sequence will be the staff room scene.
Well, this is the scene that basically sets up the whole episode, because it's the scene where Kurt injures himself. But what I like about it is it sets up a whole load of other stuff, so much so that Kurt being injured is kind of buried in the middle of lots of other little stories, and you don't quite realise how significant it's going to be until later on.
We also want to mention that Sports Day is coming, so that doesn't come from nowhere later on. And the good thing about staff room scenes is you can get so much in.
This scene has actually been rewritten endlessly.
By the time we actually shoot it next week, it'll be in the region of 12 drafts.
When do you learn your lines generally?
Wednesdays.
Yeah, I do them Thursdays.
Good day, Wednesday.
With teachers, you're thrilled by what the directors and the actors have done because it's so much better than you could possibly have imagined. And I'm sure this will be even better than I pictured as I wrote it.
It's really quite exciting, finding out what your character's going to be doing. And what I tend to do, I don't just learn it as one long block, but I read it through, say, 10, maybe 12 times. And it's kind of like osmosis, it just starts to slowly sink in.
In terms of getting into character, I think the girls probably find it the hardest. They tend to complicate it, and they're not particularly funny, either on screen or off.
So I'm getting to work, and usually go for breakfast, and then it's straight into makeup for the transformation of white-faced, curly, mopped, sticks propping up the eyelids, and then into costume.
This is the character Lindsay, so we just make sure it's all clean and pressed and ready. And this is what she wears in the scene. She actually comes in a coat, because that's continuous from the scene before, which she loses during the scene. So that's her costume there. And Nav plays Kurt. He's going to be in this outfit. So when we shoot it, he'll just be in his shirt and tie. He's always very neat in his shirt and tie.
Well, the first scene's in the staff room. And it requires every member of the cast, every member of our main cast, that's 9 of them, in the first scene, 8 o'clock, ready at the top of the day.
It's a nightmare scene. It's first up, I'm terrified. We've got all of the principal characters in this scene. We can see the kind of like run up. Good morning.
Good morning.
All the actors come in. We say good morning. Make sure everyone's cool, and then we'll just have a little read through.
And usually we go along to whichever set we're working in. For example, the staff room. We'll go along and all sit around and hopefully do just a line run. Some days a bit more buoyant than others, so it might take some time.
As if I've got a fucking partner. Did she ever remember my birthday? I don't fucking think so. Fucking bitch.
Good morning. Thank you. May I remind everyone that Sports Day approaches. Parents have been invited, the police have been alerted.
And then Andy will block it and say, OK, I want you to start there, you start there. You two girls come in from the door, however he's going to do it. And then we'll try it with movements and try and stick in things like making our coffee or things like that. Just kind of add to keeping it really real.
Yeah, wherever you want to go. Funny, isn't it?
and all the rest of it. Then we pull focus after this little thing. The boys. Now, can we have you pegging around the corner first? We can have these doors right open so we get loads of energy. Pull. Something for the gifted. The last moment there. And so basically, round the corner, AD, bang into there. Maybe you get caught with your keys or your bag, gets whacked in there. You slow up. He comes.
As I'm coming round the
As you're
corner.
coming round, you can't hold it. And then what we're going to do now?
Yeah.
Is you're going to, unfortunately, you're going to go no, and then pink. Oh fuck! Oh fucking hell! Okay. So don't worry about that. Mate, that could have been awkward. Did you get that on film?
The most important part of the scene is
When I come in.
Jimmy comes in and steals a cup of tea.
Off of Lindsay, played by Vicky Hawke.
And what's around that to kind of fill it in and
Is
complement that?
inconsequential.
Yeah. Is
But we thought we'd pad that
It's
bit
a
out.
stunt. It's a
it's a
stunt.
stunt.
What do you want? Well, can I show you? Yeah. Because you need a bit of a run up. So it's basically like no.
Yeah.
What about
What about somersault?
no? Ideally, it'd be nice if you can get a real swan dive.
It's not a competition, boy. It's not a
7.6.
What we're doing is, at the beginning of the episode, there's a race between Kurt and Brian, kind of just to prove their fitness and stuff like that. And the race continues in the staff room. It's the first person who gets to the staff room, and I'm in the lead. And I'm running into the staff room. I can't stop. I see some chairs, and I basically just do a massive dive into the middle of the staff room floor, hurt myself, and end up in a wheelchair. And that's the kind of the basis of the episode. So we're just doing a jump now where I have to leap onto this massive crash mat, which isn't the hardest part of the whole thing, is to slow down enough so AD can keep up, because he's a bit slow, and come around the corner we've got to be kind of almost neck and neck. But I've got to hang back a lot because he's not very good with his big chunky legs. You can't beat me in a race.
I don't think you beat me.
I think I'd beat you.
You?
I don't think you would. I think I'd win.
Well, I'm a sports teacher.
Yeah.
I'm bound to beat the parody.
And it's comedy.
Once we choreograph the scene, then the crew will come in and they watch the whole action.
I was a massive fan of the show. Your agent doesn't normally tell you about jobs unless you've got an audition for it. She doesn't get your hopes up about stuff. But she rang me and said, just to let you know, I've put you up for teachers. I was like, you're joking, that's great. And she was like, yeah, I think it's a really good, be a really good part for you. They want somebody who's vivacious, sexy and witty. And I went, what have you put me up for it for?
Just feel like it's a two-shot here. If you sort of lean out a little bit more.
This is me. This is what I do. One job, I still get it wrong.
And we'll start with the first shot, which is often a wide shot of everything, doing the whole scene, which is cool if it's a half-a-page scene. When it's 3.5 pages of constant action, it can become really complicated. And you can get to the last couple of lines and somebody will go, oh man, I forgot my line. You're all like, ah, because we've got all the way through it to that last second. It's really annoying.
Kurt, it's Bob's birthday. I'm so sorry. Me too. Don't go again.
AD and Nav come flying in, they're trying to beat each other. So can you be, if you're sort of here at the beginning, let them all come through at the beginning and then be talking, so you make an obstacle for AD. This woman, she's at the beginning and she's basically there, she's meant to, 1 second Zoe, she's meant to create an obstacle for Nav and AD when they come in, and then there's another woman I've got at the water fountain, but that's why Nav has to swerve around her and go over the armchair and crash down.
We're running so quickly. The finish line is the tea counter in the staff room.
Where I am getting a tea.
It's brilliant how all these things come together.
You'll see the threads.
Is that where the finish line was?
Break those thoughts up, do you know what I mean? You've done your recovery position, you think you've sorted him out. Yeah? You hear that she's talking about that. Job done. Off to lessons.
She's got to move on, we've not got all day. Who is it who isn't acting?
So we're going to go from Julie to
Act better.
now.
Act faster.
You know what? You're coming across so badly.
Watch the clock down the head. It was excellent, the kick was brilliant.
Very funny. Okay, moving on. Thank you. Well done.
The edit, I just thought an edit was just basically the mechanics of all the work that you've shot. That you've, all the different takes, all the different angles. It's the pure mechanics of just building the framework of a scene, but it's so much, infinitely more than that. Just finding the right sound effect to make the back crick was a mission in itself, but we eventually found it. So you know. And I think all of these things add to the overall kind of impact and fun of the episode.
I know by the script that there's going to be the sound of clapping hands from Carol, which then leads me into the shot of them coming in, which is this shot. So if I overlay the claps on that, we hear the sound, and because you're hearing the sound, that then leads you straight to the picture, which hopefully will make a reasonably good cut.
In the time that we had to shoot it, I think that we did it really, really nicely, and and it's got a lot of energy to it as well, and a lot of fluidity. I like moving the camera quite a lot, and I think we've managed to keep a good pace on the whole scene. So yeah, I am very happy with it, and I hope you are too.
I don't think they're at all smart.
That's because you can't read people like I can.
What do you mean, read people?
I can look at someone and know just from their face and their aura what kind of person they really are.
So, when you look at me, can you tell I'm the kind of person who would happily pour this milk all over your head?
I know that Matt and Kurt are both incredibly selfish. If anything, Matt is worse than Kurt.
Funny, isn't it?
What?
Well, these papers always get your horoscope wrong. Don't be disappointed if your partner forgets your birthday this week. As if I've got a fucking partner. And did she ever remember my birthday? I don't think so. Fucking bitch.
You do realise I let you win?
Can't fucking breathe.
Right, recovery position.
Good morning. Yes, thank you. May I remind everyone that Sports Day approaches? Parents have been invited. The police have been alerted. I hope those of you who failed to win the staff race will not display the kind of disgraceful behaviour we witnessed last year. Yes, I'm talking about you, Mr. McKenna.